Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Babaji, can you start with my wish, please?
Yes, yes. My wish, the lover has to keep the wish of the beloved. My wish for my lovers is as follows. Do not shirk your responsibilities. Attend faithfully to your worldly duties, but keep always at the back of your mind that all this is Baba's. When you feel happy, think Baba wants me to be happy. When you suffer, think Baba wants me to suffer. Sorry. Be resigned to every situation and think honestly and sincerely. Baba has placed me in this situation. With the understanding that Baba is in everyone, try to help and serve others. I say with my divine authority to each and all that whosoever takes my name at the time of breathing is last comes to me. So do not forget to remember me in your last moments. Unless you start remembering me from now on, it will be difficult to remember me when your end approaches. You should start practicing from now on. Even if you take my name only once every day, you will not forget to remember me in your dying moments. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai.
Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you so much for reading that. So we get back to Bal Natu.
Can I read? Jai Baba.
Yeah. If you can start first. We are reading Bal Natu, The Glimpses of the God Man. This is session number 44, and we are reading about the accident. So let's continue from there on. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Again, 4 years later, when Baba met with the second auto accident, he disclosed that it was part of his spiritual work and remarked, ordinary men suffer for himself, perfect masters suffer for humanity, whereas the avatar suffers for one and all things and beings. On June 13, a message from Meher Baba was released for all, and especially those who were deeply touched by his unforeseen calamity, in which Baba disclosed the following. The personal disaster for many years foretold by me has at last happened while crossing the American continent, causing me through facial injuries, a broken leg, and a broken arm, much mental and physical suffering. It was necessary that it should happen in America. God willed it so. Later in New York, when Fred Winterfield met Baba with reference to the accident, he asked, Baba, did it have to be? With a benign smile, Baba gestured, Yes, so it ever was, and so it ever shall be. The suffering of the God man is an inseparable aspect of his love for humanity. The ambulance is carrying the patients from Prague.
Yeah, there is a heading. So this is now Baba goes to Yukon Dunes, which is near the center, but in Myrtle Beach.
Baba at Yukon Dunes. The ambulances carrying the patients from Prague reached Myrtle Beach on Sunday, June 8th. Rano had made the necessary arrangements for Baba and the others in Elizabeth's house. Baba's room was on the first floor and air conditioned. Mehra, Gohar, Mani, Meru, and Rano were to stay upstairs. Elizabeth and Rano Bogislav were to reside on the ground floor. The men disciples accommodated themselves at the center. Kitty helped Adi in marketing. Marketing? Okay. The
I
Prague.
think shopping or whatever. I was also amused by that. It looks like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it looks like official marketing. The
No, no, I
Prague.
think, yeah, it's nothing to do with sales and marketing. I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I
shopping or
thought,
whatever.
wow. I said it's taking another direction. I didn't know of this. uh, uh, yeah. The Prague phase was over, and convalescent period at Yukon Dunes had begun. Baba was still suffering and in pain, but he remembered with love the timely medical help given by Dr. Burleson. In appreciation of his services, Baba gave him a fine cigarette case. Dr. Burleson expressed his thankfulness through a letter. It was addressed to the mandali, and a part of it is quoted below. My wife and I thank you more than we can express for your wonderful present. It is beautiful, and we shall keep it always and remember you every time we see it. From you and your party, we have seen a demonstration of the teachings of Christ. Many Americans preach these things, but we have never observed so close an application of them. The profound devotion to you, which is demonstrated by all of your party, convinces us that you observe all of it. Such devotion from so many wonderful
No,
people.
that you deserve all of it. Please read that line again. Very powerful
Yeah,
line.
yeah,
The
sure.
profound
The
devotion. Yeah.
profound devotion to you, which is demonstrated by all of the party, convinces us that you deserve all of it. Such devotion from so many wonderful people is almost unbelievable. Myrtle Beach
I'll just
experience.
I'll just pause you here. So
Yes.
that's the end of the letter. That's a beautiful thought, and I think
Yes.
as even we can even today we can say we are the early lovers of Baba, the early ones that are in his fold. I think
Yeah.
we have to have this kind of an ideal uh, that the Mandali had, right? So in our public behavior, in our public interactions, we may choose, like we have been discussing, to talk about Baba at the right time or not talk about it. But our behavior should be so that the person seeing us should wonder, okay, there's something special about this person, or there is
Yes.
something different. What is it? And then that should start a conversation, possibly, because we are living a life which Baba wants us to live. Right? I think it's a tough ideal. I'm not saying it's easy, but this message should come to us from everyone that we interact with, and that would be to Baba's joy. That would be our our effort and our gift to Baba, I would say.
Baba's behavior traits, how, what would you say are some examples of how a Baba conduct should be? We can all use, I mean, I feel simplicity um, and um, and not simplicity and not being so demonstrative about your worldly assets in terms of education or money, or your Baba lover is not flashy. I would say one of the attributes of a Baba lover are those. What do you others think?
Yes, Nomita ji, I think uh, keeping it short and simple and not being flashy. I was reading some other Baba messages. He says to keep a low profile, and also in preaching, once you have yourself have full 200% conviction, and then only you should preach about Baba. So it's a very there are a lot of messages and guidance given by Baba on how we should behave. As Karthik has said, I think behavior, because we all get caught up in lag. that is
Lag,
easy.
yeah. Lag is one of the first things that we have to keep away from. Yes. Last
Yes,
time agreed.
yes. So
Yeah.
and that's all um, fueled
Lag
by the
and
ego.
lag and lack.
LAG,
Uh,
LAG. So it's
so that I lag.
lust, anger, and greed.
Yeah.
And so I think Baba has said, if I may use the management thing of keeping it short and simple, that's just to try to concentrate on his name, his his teachings, and keep and that should be it. This is my two cents. Jai Baba.
Yeah, I think personally I'll extend that a little more, right? So, if you see this example, in this example, what did Dr. Burleson see? Dr. Burleson saw that they gave him utmost respect and care. They treated him like a flower. They saw, Burleson probably spent a lot of his time in that period when he was in that medical center with this group, and of course with Baba and Mehra and everybody. So that close interaction gives you glimpses of personality that's not available when you're in general public life, right? When you're when I say that in the context of family, in the context of friends, in the context of close colleagues that we work with. There we get an opportunity to test, like you said, Ashok, lag. We test compassion, we test forgiveness, we test all of those boundaries on a day-to-day basis. And the way we react to those circumstances should leave the other side, the other person, with the thought like, wow, I didn't expect him to do that. Why did he do that? What's driving him? What should, I think we need to know more about this.
Yes,
And why I say that is because the spiritual way of the Baba way of reacting to something is unusual. When somebody walks away when with forgiveness, when forgiveness was not the first choice that would come to 99 humans, then you think of that one human and say, why did he forgive? And you want to get to the bottom of it. So that's where I was going with this, a little deeper. That's all.
absolutely, Karthik. If I may add just two more
Sure.
things. One is the selfless service. I mean, you're doing service or you're doing whatever you do without any expectation. It's difficult,
Yes.
but that's what Baba is.
Beautiful. Yes.
Uh,
Exactly. The person should say, why is he selfless?
yes,
What is driving him? Why did he do what he did? And and let's face it, we experience such questions many times in our life as well. Somebody does something which you don't expect in normal course. The more frequently we can behave in that manner, and we provoke the question in the other person, saying, "Hey, that was nice, but why did you do it?" And then that could probably start a conversation.
Jai Baba, I also feel in this journey of 3 or 4 years we've been speaking and talking about Baba, I think that dust of arrogance and kindness for others is what Baba's love and Baba's knowledge is doing to us. We see that all these various masks we wear are removed on their own, layer by layer. You can see through things that don't serve us. With Baba's grace, we want to drop it. We can see our own lives from a distance. I think Baba's love, Baba's knowledge, Baba's reading, that is what is, at least in my case, I would say, I can see myself as for what I am and how far I have to go to be like like how how it would be ideal in the Baba world. And then you belong to a set of people who share values, who share humility, who share love for the master, and all these accolades or big things which to the world may mean a lot, it loses its meaning. Not to say that we are not grateful. We have a lot of gratitude for it. but the focus of our being is to improve our, sanskaras and get out of this body and many others, um, with not to come so many times. And we say, Baba, okay, decide what you want to do for me. And you feel nice in your own company over and over the years. Thank you, Jai Baba.
Thank you, Jai Baba.
Uh,
Mom,
if
Mamaji,
you
yeah.
if you want to define this, we shift from the mind to the heart.
Yes,
So gradually this happens, and then we feel that this creates a sort of oneness with the other people. Gradually, over a period, we identify ourselves with so many people, and then gradually, that's what Baba says, God is everywhere, and you are God. So that concrete evidence comes up with this constant practice, and then gradually this travels from the head to the heart. Jai Baba.
absolutely. Yeah, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, very nicely said, all of you. And I think the greater picture is moving from this world of illusion or duality to reality. It's a very, very difficult thing because we are all caught up in the allure of duality, and moving from all this illusion to the world of reality. It's a big.
I would say, as you said, it is difficult. I think for Baba lovers, it's not difficult.
Yeah, what I meant to say
It
is that
comes easy.
it becomes easy, but yeah, but you have to really take the plunge, or let's take the plunge from
No,
one.
I don't agree. I think we don't do nothing. It is his key that is turned, and he shows us the path to
Yeah,
him. On our side, it's just we just flow and submit and surrender, and then he takes over.
yeah. It's to each
Yeah,
his own, as
yeah, yeah,
as the earlier one, earlier saying different strokes for different folks is what.
yeah. True.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
I'll continue.
Thank you for the discussion. Yeah, please, yes.
Myrtle Beach experienced a heat wave during June 1952. Sometimes the weather was very humid, certainly not a pleasant climate for the patients. Baba's left leg was in a plaster cast, and the arm was bandaged to his chest. He often spent restless nights. The swelling of his face subsided, and his countenance looked normal. However, he appeared thin and tired. In the wheelchair, I would sometimes visit Mehra's room. Her eyelids were still swollen, and she would hardly open them. The injuries she sustained in the accident were very serious, and the doctors remarked that it was a miracle that she escaped without the internal head injuries. Elizabeth was confined to bed with fractured arms and broken ribs. A nurse was hired to look after her during this convalescent period. At Prague, owing to damaged nerves, her fingers had become so numb that she had to sign papers. When she had to sign papers, she would say, "Find my fingers, they have gone so dead." To suffer with the Master is one of the choicest blessings. It indicates closeness with Him and His inner work. As we look back, it seems that Baba had indirectly suggested such an event to Elizabeth during his second visit to the States in May 1932. During this visit, Baba stayed at Harmon on Hudson, where he had previously spent 3 weeks during his first visit to America in November 1931. Elizabeth recollects. Vividly, I recall the beautiful late spring morning of May 24th, 1932, when Norina and Anita and I motored 35 miles from New York, where we were living. Our hearts were happy and our spirits glad as we reached the retreat near Harmon. Baba greeted us with warm embrace, and we found a number had gathered there already. After a reps was served by Jean and others, Baba led out led us out onto the stone terrace and then along a path to a field with wild flowers. Some were here and there picking the wild flowers, but I stayed close to Baba. He quietly picked a small flower and handed it to me. Then I mentioned to Kakabaria, who was ever near with Baba's alphabet board, and Baba spelled out slowly that I should always keep the flower and should write down the date, that someday I would know the meaning. When I got home in the evening, I pasted it inside the cover of my New Testament and wrote down Baba, May 24, 1932. I do not know fully the meaning and deeper significance of the accident, which happened 20 years to the day, May 24th, but I do not know that
I
but
do
I
know.
do know that Baba knew then and now. The first auto accident. Through the experience of sharing Baba's suffering to a degree, I felt my life, instead of being nearly cut off, was extended for a purpose. The gift of the little flower was grace from the Master to be treasured in my heart, in the heart. You want to go to the footnote?
Yeah.
The Awakener, Volume 12, Number 3, page 67, 1968.
So this flower, by the way, and this note is kept in Myrtle Beach. It's
Oh,
such an amazing little gesture of compassion from Baba. Imagine the guilt one would have if you were driving the avatar and this had to happen. And
yeah,
by this little gesture of Baba, he has absolved and actually, uh, said that it's all okay. This is all you're just doing what I want. So
yeah.
amazing.
In spite of Elizabeth's confinement to bed, Baba would often send her some messages, either about the work at the center or his upcoming programs, and she would see that his instructions and directions were perfectly carried on. Baba even visited Elizabeth a few times in her room, and it was on one such occasion that he asked Kitty, who had been living with him in India for the last 15 years, to, to stay back at Myrtle Beach. In Kitty's words, Baba gave me two specific tasks. First, to keep Elizabeth and Norina, both of whom were convalescing, one from the accident, the other one from a severe heart attack and nervous exhaustion. Secondly, I was to help them in the work at the center, with special care to be given to the cables. Baba reiterated these instructions in 1956 and again in 1958. When following a perfect master, be prepared for the unexpected. About staying with Baba, she
No, no, yeah,
the
one second.
Wagner, yeah, the
Yeah.
Wagner, Volume 6, Number 4, page 44, 1960. About staying with Baba, she also added, each one of us is as close or as far from Baba, not in measurement of time, land, or ocean, but according to the treasure we carry in our hearts, the ever growing consciousness of Baba's love. Kitty is still staying in Myrtle Beach, carrying out Baba's instructions and actively helping those who visit the center, wishing to find out more about Meher Baba, a unique contribution in Baba's cause. Baba was
By the
not
way,
comfortable.
the last one is also from the same Awakener, the Kitty's message.
Yes, Baba was
Baba
not
was.
Baba was not comfortable with his leg in a plaster cast. When in bed, he had to lie on his back, or he would not turn over on either side. Sometimes Adi and Meherji sponged Baba's back, arm, and leg, but that was only a temporary relief. Margaret massaged all the patients. After his arrival at Yukon Dunes, Baba's health did not improve very much, so Donkin visited Baltimore and tried to arrange for Baba to stay in a hospital there so that his leg could be examined and treated. On his, on his return, however, Donkin decided to take Baba to Durham, NC, about 250 miles from Myrtle Beach. On June 20th, Baba was taken in an ambulance with Mehra and Meru to Duke Hospital in Durham. Each of the three doctors from the Mandali, Donkin, Neelu, Gohar followed Baba. Dr. Bakar, an eminent orthopedic surgeon, examined Baba. He removed the plaster from Baba's leg and arm. He explained that both the limbs were healing in a natural way. After the change of casts, Baba's general recovery was satisfactory. He decided to visit New York in the third week of July, and he also agreed to visit England and Switzerland en route to India, but cancelled his visit to France. After his visit to Duke Hospital, Baba, under Donkin's instructions, started taking some leg and hand exercises. He would also try to stand and sit down by himself unassisted. It was as if he were preparing himself to bear the strain of meeting. I lost it. Yeah, okay. Meeting people in New York. On July 2nd, Baba visited the center with the Indian woman. He spent some time meeting those staying on the center. This was, however, he his last visit to the center during his trip to America. After supper, on July 4th, American Independence Day, Baba went with the Mandali by car to the Lafayette Hotel. There, he sat on the portico with the woman um, Mandali patio, sorry. He sat on the patio with the women Mandali watching the fireworks and other amusements. In spite of his excruciating suffering, Baba was participating in the joys of the American public as man amongst men. The men disciples freely moved about and enjoyed the celebration. On the same days, during the latter part of June and early July, R.D. read out to Baba a draft received by Ivy Deuce of the Sufism reoriented constitution. Afterwards, Baba responded that he would send Mrs. Deuce the final charter for Sufism reoriented before the close of the year. On June 17th, he had dictated a special message at Yupon Dunes in which he stated, Meher Baba is equally connected with Islam and its Sufism, Christianity, and its mysticism. The Orient and its Vedantism, broad Buddhism, practical Zoroastrianism, Jainism, and many other isms, which all speak the same divine truth and lead to the same divine goal. Meher Baba is also detached and above all these divine paths. In continuation of this, on July 9th, Baba dictated a personal letter to Adi for IV dues. It was given below. Sufism reoriented is fundamentally based on enlarging the concept of Sufism and making it all embracing for the nature of its knowledge and practice, yet maintaining the original value of Sufism. Do you not realize that the very assertion that I am connected with all isms and yet detached and above all isms lays bare the truth that Sufism reoriented, emanating from me to be convinced and practiced, will forge out
Conceit.
into one of the few pure channels leading to one God. As a result, all who will follow any one of the isms reoriented by me will come eventually to love and realize me rather than the isms. Karthik, you
Yeah,
had some experience with them. Do you want to share something from those days?
yeah, I will. So this is from Ivy Deuce's book. Ivy Deuce wrote a book called How a Master Works. So that's from page 105. So actually, before that, as I was reading this message, I was just smiling, thinking, is this a hint of the the post Baba religion? Will this be the so every avatar after his avatar advent left behind a religion. I mean, left behind thought that coagulated into a religion, right? Because the intent of the avatar was not to create a religion, but then it happens. It coagulates, and that thought is attracted to the population, and that gradually gathers momentum and becomes a religion. I was just smiling to say that maybe in 100 years this will become a very, very prominent institution and religion, or maybe not. I don't know. Baba's plan could be completely different. But
I mean,
coming to
if you are an insider, then it won't become a religion. It'll become a catalyst to recognition of this divine power being one. But if you are a newcomer, then you just make it like a ritual. Then perhaps it
it's
would.
very difficult. It's very difficult over over a long period of time to maintain the the beautiful experiences that we get today in Mehrabad, right? The
Yeah.
beautiful experiences that we get today in Mehrabad will surely not be there in 100 years because today Mehrabad is fresh with the fragrance of people who have been with Baba, people who know what it takes to love him and what Baba would want in his place, right? That
Mm.
will slowly get diluted, and that is the emergence of religion. So there will be a cult kind of thing slowly gaining momentum over the next 100 years, right?
What are
And
your thoughts on the superstructure they are trying to do?
not very excited. I love the needle. I mean, the Westerners call it needle, but I like the what's that called? The tower, the memorial tower. Yeah,
Mm.
I love the memorial tower. That's a very nice example of
No, no, no. They are
translating.
planning to.
I know, I
Sorry,
know.
that's.
I'm coming to the
Yeah.
super. I'm coming to
Okay.
the superstructure.
Uh,
So if you read about the memorial tower and the thought that has gone into it, that's a very good manifestation, physical manifestation of some of Baba's thoughts in a beautiful manner and representative of the poignancy of that particular event. So the particular
mm,
event was what happened in where Baba, called out a few people's names and did what he did by dropping a flower, a rose for each one of them. So it's a very nice example of love and very good execution and design. I don't know, Mamaji, you might not have seen this. You should
No,
see it this
yes, yes,
visit.
I
Yeah,
have
you
not
should see it
seen
this
that.
visit. Yeah, this is new. This is new.
Uh,
So
Regarding
second,
what you are telling now, the
mhm,
last paragraph here, as a result, all who will follow any one of the isms reoriented by me, will come eventually to love and realize me rather than the isms. So that
perfect.
should happen. It should
That's I hope. I dearly hope. But
happen.
then a part of me says, unfortunately, there will be one ism which will probably emerge to represent. So we don't have to look very far. Uh, I don't want to go back to unpleasant experiences,
No,
but
Jai
we
Baba,
on this group we talked about a particular group in the last few months where there are hundreds of people who strongly believe in a particular leader who gives all credit to Meher Baba, but then he's not practicing exactly what Meher Baba has said. So people will be people, right? And there will be coagulation of thought and a collection of people around that. But Ashok ji, your comments, and then I'll answer Namita ji's question on Sufism.
yeah, yeah. See, what I'm saying is that Baba has said that uh, for 60 years after he drops his body, or 70 years, whatever is
70.
70 years. So 2039, uh, his presence is there. So I mean, at least in this,
No, I'm not disputing all that. I'm talking
I'm,
much later. I'm talking about.
I'm just saying. So what
Yeah.
happens in the future is anybody's guess. Of course, we can have various scenarios as we do have in management. The optimistic one, the realistic one, the pessimistic one. But that is for not for us um, to contemplate upon, because that is something which is beyond our control. But I'm certain that the universal force, the universal energy, in whatever form, Baba is always overlooking us. So, and his presence will be there for not just 60 years is a golden period, but it is there for 700 years, next 700 years. And that is what has been, uh, is the thought process of Sufism oriented at Walnut Creek, or in many of their, uh, many of their communications. So I think we should believe that Baba will remain with us in the short term. Of course, we have the golden window, and even beyond that, he will always be there. He is omnipresent. He is omnipotent, and he's there. Now, the ego of mankind, or the ego of anyone, we cannot control. But but slowly and surely people will get into his fold, is what is the prediction, which means more and more people will try to follow his preachings and teachings. Yes, is what I'm trying to just highlight. Of course, uh, we do see a lot of aberrations, or the play of ego, be it war, or, or be it lag, the lust, anger, and greed. And war also is an outcome of the extreme manifestation of ego. So, I mean, that
Okay.
will always be there, and it will continue. But we should, at least we should be optimistic that, or at least we should do a small bit, whatever we can. Is my that's all, Jay Baba. I
Yeah,
hope I
yeah.
have not.
Uh,
I hope I have not deviated from. Uh,
no. That's fine. I'm just drawing back the attention to the simple thing that simple point I wanted to make. And to Nomita ji's question on Sufism, even Ashok has had very good experience and exposure with Sufism. Uh, so they are what should I say? They display. I mean, they are a very when you see
dedication.
that group, right? When you see that group,
Dedication. I think the word you're looking for is dedication.
yes. No, I actually see mandali actually, right? So when you and I have had the privilege of working very closely with all of them, including Mushida. And I see Mandali. So, like Burleson's remarks, that would be my summary about them, right? So, without any doubt, right? So that's all I would like to say this time.
Can we read it
I
again?
think yeah, I think we can rotate the reading. Maybe after we read this
Yeah,
message from
sure.
Baba.
Yeah, and I just want to add that I've been there to Walnut Creek, and their um, their devotion, dedication. Can you imagine that uh, Mr. Pascal was standing in heat at 2 p.m.? It was probably 38 or 39 degrees centigrade to receive us. So, I mean, they're really, I mean, anybody visiting there, they make them feel, that in Baba's divinity,
Special.
especially, yes.
I mean, this everything about what they do is very well thought out and very deep. I mean, how many? Did you know that Walnut Creek can survive an earthquake and last for 600 years?
Exactly.
You should
You
listen. You should listen to the architect's video on this property. The architect says he could not believe the request he received because nobody has ever built a building which they expect to last 600 years. Nobody has ever done that. Right? Humans don't think like that. So that's where I say that they are very, very special, no doubt about it. Yeah,
absolutely,
let's just
and thanks for bringing out their effort which has gone in building a building which they say will survive 700 years. It's built to be
yeah,
earthquake resistant.
yeah. Everything resistant for 700 years.
Yes,
Amazing.
yes.
Sufism reoriented is fundamentally based on enlarging the concept of Sufism and making it all embracing for the nature of its knowledge and practice, yet maintaining the original value of Sufism. Do you not realize that the very assertion that I am connected with all isms and yet detached and above all isms lay bare the truth that Sufism reoriented, emanating from me to be conceived and practiced, will forge out into one of the few pure channels leading to one God. As a result, all who will follow any one of the isms reoriented by me will come eventually to love and realize me rather than the isms.
Yep. So we can continue reading. Ashokji, you want to read? Thank you so much for reading,
Just,
Namitaji.
Jai Baba.
just,
I
just
will.
wanted to, I just wanted to add. I'm reading Don Stevens' book, Awakener, Avtar Meher Baba.
Yeah.
He is one person we closely, so know closely because of God speaks. And he came to Baba through Sufism reoriented. He was a student of Murshida Rabin,
Deuce.
first one. Yeah, not Deuce, के पहले,
Before,
Murshida,
correct.
Martin.
Rabia
And
Martin.
yeah, Rabi Martin. And you see the perplexity of a person who is so closely following Sufism oriented. And one, all of a sudden, all the people were told, now you'll be following Meher Baba. And
Hmm.
somebody they don't know, and there is no connect and all that. Suppose, your master says, now I am no more your final master. The real master is Meher Baba, and we need to follow him. And the difficulty that he had in changing himself, and then he finally came to see Baba uh, in London, where
New
all
York.
his in the New York, 1952.
Yes,
Yeah,
New
yeah,
York.
because Baba could not travel
The
to the other side.
yes.
To the west, he could not travel because of the accident on the Prague, and then
So
he recuperated and met everybody from the west in New York. Yeah, there he met for him for a couple of days, and then he described how it was.
So
So
that's the
just
first
wanted to
chapter
add.
of that book.
Very,
Yeah, the first
yeah,
chapter
yeah,
of that book is very
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
He
Very, very.
Don makes a 7 hour flight those days coast to coast to meet
Yeah.
Baba for this few
Yes, yes,
hours.
yes.
And
Correct, correct,
he
correct,
has
correct. It stays.
such a beautiful experience in that meeting. Like he describes
Yes,
it
yes, yes.
beautifully. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
remember that
yeah,
glance, and
yeah.
it's just beautiful.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
And he was
it's
introduced to
very
Baba. This
touching.
is Don. Yeah, this is Don Stevens, and Baba tells him that I have known him from the dawn of the time.
Yes, yes.
Very good. Yeah,
Yeah,
Baba.
very
Continue.
beautiful. Very beautiful book. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Yeah. Ashok ji, you can start.
Uh, I'll start
By the
from.
way, that book reference, yeah, I already said it. I'm sorry. That was from How a Master Works from my videos.
Okay. Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai. Baba also added the following lines to the letter under a PS, postscript. Thus, dear Ivy, I want you to be certain that Sufism oriented will be bereft of the modern aspect to become universal instead and yet keep intact the original Sufism. On his return to India at Mehrabad on November 14th, 1952, Baba signed and mailed to Ivy Dues the charted guidance from Meher Baba for the reorientation of Sufism as the highway to the ultimate universalized. Uniqueness of the life phase. On July 8th, Chairman, Chairman,
That's Ivy Deuce's daughter. Ivy Deuce
oh, I'm sorry.
was is yeah, yeah. Ivy Deuce is the daughter of Shamian is the daughter of Ivy Deuce,
Yeah.
and Shamian is the Murshida at that time. Murshida is the head of the order.
I thought maybe it's a typo, but anyway. So,
Yeah.
Charmian Deuce was called from New York for a short stay at Yukon Dunes. She roomed with Ruano Bogislav on the ground floor. She has recorded an incident revealing one of Baba's unique methods of teaching through natural events. One day after lunch, Ruano was leisurely smoking a cigar. Someone wondered if it was good to do so when staying under the same roof with Baba. Just then, Charmian saw Mani descending the stairs. Mani approached Ruano and gave her a rectangular box saying, "Here is a present to you from Baba. He wants you He also wants me to remind you to keep your promise of not smoking more than 6 a day." How Baba came up with the box of cigars and what made him send it at that moment to Ruano is a avataric mystery. When anyone comes into the love orbit of avatar, this mystical game comes into play. So it's I just take a pause here. It's something like a magnetic field, which reminds me. The analogy of a magnetic field where Baba is there. He knows everything and he is compassionate. This is another sign of his name as compassionate Father Meher Baba is coming true. Anybody else has any thoughts? I'll continue.
Yes.
A similar incident happened in the late 30s during Ruano's stay in India. On one occasion, someone very forcefully expressed his views to Baba about the evil effects of smoking. After giving a patient hearing to this oration, Baba smiled good humoredly and asked the speaker to purchase a box of cigars for Ruano. No other comment was made. However, with Meherji, one of the close mandali, it was different. In the late 40s, Meherji accompanied Baba during some of his must tours. Once Baba conducted a high mass at Jalgaon, MS, actually Maharashtra state,
Yeah, Maharashtra State. That's what it
who
is.
on his own gave him two secrets. Baba never rejected the things offered to him by the musts. After returning to his residence to honor the wish of the must, Baba smoked a bit of each and casually asked Meherji to have two puffs. Meherji had been brought up in the family of a Zoroastrian priest, so he had never smoked before. However, he obeyed Baba's order. When he was finished, Baba ordered him not to smoke again, even once, for the rest of his life. I have not narrated these small happenings around Baba either to advocate smoking or non smoking, but these incidents silently reveal the way we tend to look at things that we like or dislike. Unnecessarily criticizing others is not a good habit. A friendly talk with others, expressing one's view is, however, an entirely different matter. We have to share Baba's love with others without the spirit of finding fault with others. Why justify? Why condemn? Why not understand each other in his love? I mean, there's a subtle message here that we should not be judgmental.
Yes.
I mean, that's what. On July 10th, Baba visited a paddock for a horse show with his eastern and western disciples. This visit helped Mehra focus her badly injured eyes as she loved horses. All liked the show so much that Baba accompanied them all back the next day, even though he had been very restless the night before. Perhaps such outings provided Mehra and others with a little relief from their suffering. With these visits, Baba stayed at Yupon Dunes came to a close. So I just thought comes to my mind. Baba was restless and it was the silence day. Is there any link, or we don't know what the reason was he was restless, but it might be coincidental also.
Yeah.
Baba's life phase was a magnificent manifestation of his compassion. He's reaching out to humanity in the form of the avatar. God the infinite descends as man so that man can reach him as God. To bring about this awakening, the avatar himself goes through intense physical, mental, and spiritual suffering. The personal disaster in the form of the auto accident made manifest Baba's physical suffering, although suffering in one form or another stayed with him as an inseparable companion till he dropped his body. So I think this also highlights what Karthik was trying to point out, that Baba has had come, and we are actually, we should be fortunate that we should try to immerse as much as possible in his divine love. Baba,
Yes.
yeah, I just thought I'd share that, although it's personal to me, but and maybe to others also. Baba's life phase seemed to strike a divine balance between his old life of perfect divinity and the new life of perfect humility. In the old life, he mostly lived the life of God as God, the Lord, and in new life, he lived the life of God as an ordinary man, a seeker, a servant. And in the subsequent life phase, he truly lived the life of God as the God man, the Lord, and servant in one. I would request if you can highlight this paragraph. Or at least underline it.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. I was thinking of only second line, but maybe the whole paragraph.
He talks about a balance between divine life and the of the divine balance between the old life of perfect divinity and new life of perfect humility.
Okay, before we go here, I just wanted to looking for that article that will, as we are experiencing Myrtle Beach, we will get a closer glimpse of that. We had read this together in the group, and just showing the photographs. So but this is 1956, right? 1 second. This is 1956. These are all the owners, the previous owners. And this is the Lafayette Hotel, which was just referred to now, right? This is where Baba sat in the portico to see the fireworks on July 4th, which we just read about. It.
Yeah, it is mentioned
Yeah.
as Lafayette Manor.
Yeah, I think Lafayette Manor was the building, then it became the hotel.
Okay.
It's explained here.
Okay. Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Manor, yeah.
This is to the earlier reading, where we spoke about that some people may actually, like not represent Baba in a good way, you know. So it's been
Yeah.
making circles in my head from that point onwards, that those people who we think don't measure up or are not on the same path or are not in the same thinking as us, they are also in a certain karmic cycle, you know. They have a
Oh,
few
no
more
doubt.
rounds to do before um, before they reach what is a good behavior. So from Baba's perspective, one, we should watch these people and not judge them. And second, learn that behavior is not what Baba would ask us to do, and take it as a learning for our own being, that that is not what we should follow. It's gotten stuck into my head since we read that, so I thought I will share. Sorry about digression. Thank you, Jai Baba.
No,
We have
no, absolutely right. I mean, so even when Baba was in physical form, there were so many things that were shocking. But he used to say, I wanted to play out. Things, people were mocking him, people were running campaigns against him, uh, posters were published, pamphlets were distributed, news articles were written. I mean, you never know why what is happening, and that's the nature of the world we live in. There is that diversity where there is good, bad, ugly, and all the flavors in between. But I think we have to
Yeah.
focus on what we know and what we want to be and be true to Baba's word. So just to
Jai
finish
Baba.
off, there are a few
Kartik,
photographs
I,
of the
yeah.
cabins. Yeah, Sanjay
I,
ji.
I have another view. I mean, it's not another view, but another aspect of this is, suppose there is a God man which is 100% followed. So then you are just running with the flow, you know. So it is in a way testing the commitments of your own commitment. There are few people who still follow, not okay to him. You have to cross that threshold.
Jai Baba,
We
I
lost
can't
you. Yeah,
hear. Yeah.
Sanjay ji's voice is not coming through.
I think he's in
Sorry.
Mehrabad, so Baba is listening to him directly.
Network
Yeah,
is poor.
looks
I'm
like.
in Mehrabad actually. So,
Yeah.
so they had to cross that threshold. You know, there are
Mhm.
10 people following him and two not. You know, they're questioning him and contradicting him and saying he's not the one what he claims to be. But still, you follow him. You know,
True,
it
true.
is so you cross that threshold. Your level of your love or devotion has to actually cross a threshold, and then only you be worthy of his attention. You know, that way I look at it that way also.
Correct.
Yeah.
I
Otherwise, you're
agree.
just flowing with the masses. No? Yeah.
and correctly said, Sanjay ji, that
Yeah.
that threshold is very very significant, and that's the reason why if you by unknowingly step your foot on it, they clean it, they wipe it. So yeah, that is very profound and significant. Yes, thanks for pointing out.
Okay, quickly. These are the cabins, some very old photographs. And if you remember 2 weeks back, I think this is where I stayed. This is the guest house. It's now called, oh no, this is the porch and kitchen. Okay. Yeah, this is the one I was telling you about, the barn. So this is the barn which was physically moved, and this is the old photograph. So, and this is Baba's room. This is Baba's room there. Uh, but there's also a photograph of Yukon dunes in the last few pages of this article. So that's Baba walking on the beach. The beach is in the property. Right? This is available on, this is the Lagoon cabin where he did all his interviews. This is just outside Lagoon cabin. Yeah, this is a photograph of Yupon dunes in front of. I mean, this is a photograph, but it's not clear. I think there's one more. Yeah, there's another photograph, but again, it's not clear. This is where Baba convalesced. So the last few pages we read were literally about Yupon dunes. So just wanted to share these photographs so that they are
Karthik, can you reshare
giving
this
you a
one?
visualization.
This globe.
Just find it on Telegram. And I'll
Okay.
tag it if you need. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
it's just taggable. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Ashrokji, you can continue. So this is the
Yeah.
next chapter.
Yeah.
Maybe if there's any other people willing to read, in maybe 10 minutes we can rotate.
Fine. You just
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. Jai Baba.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. New York, London, Switzerland. 1952, Part 4. Baba at Hartsdale. On July 14th, Baba left Myrtle Beach for Florence, SC. After reaching the railway station, Baba was carried in a wheelchair to a train leaving that afternoon. The next morning, Baba arrived at Penn Station along with his Eastern and Western disciples. Ivy Deuce and Charmian were at the station to receive the guests. Baba, Mehra, Elizabeth, and other women mandali were driven in limousines to Hartsdale. Meherji and Sorosh were lodged at the Sufi Center, while Adi, Nilu, and Mustaji stayed at 101 Moi Guest House in White Plains, New York, NY. SC stands
So
for Southern
SC
California.
is South Carolina,
Okay.
NY is New York, and New York is both a city and a state. So the state New York, in upstate, you have White Plains, and Hartsdale is also a town in northern part of New York. The Baba's having this meeting in Hartsdale. Yeah.
In the beginning of July, Baba had sent certain instructions from Myrtle Beach to Mrs. Deuce about securing a house for him and those accompanying him. One of the special requirements for Baba's house was that it should be within a radius of 50 miles from New York City. The time at hand was very short, and Baba people were doing their utmost to find this accommodation either in Westchester, Long Island, or New Jersey. Their efforts, however, proved unsuccessful. Phyllis Frederick Phyllis Frederick had a job in New York at the time. One of her acquaintances, Kate Ferris, owned a nice house in Hartsdale. Phyllis, a bit hesitantly, phoned her and was pleasantly surprised to find that Kate very gladly consented to loan her residence for Baba's use during his 2 week stay in New York. Phyllis furnished the house for the guests with beds, pans, linens, dishes, etc., and special attention was paid to Baba's needs. On Baba's arrival at Hartsdale, Kate formally handed over the key of the house to Baba, and to honor his wish for privacy, she willingly left her own place to stay with a friend. During the day, Baba was wheeled to the back garden with the women disciples. It turned out that all the neighbors staying in the flats overlooking the garden had coincidentally left either on vacation or for some work, and so the privacy of Baba party remained undisturbed. During Baba's visit to different places, it was often found that certain requirements which Baba needed for his work would automatically be met in a very natural way. However, he would give his dear ones opportunities to receive credit for this and to participate in his divine plan as well. Kate Ferris's house number 14, Kohavni Road became Baba's residence until July 31st. During this stay, Baba wanted a strong, intelligent boy to wheel him around within the house and other places during his outdoor visits. He had to be between 16 and 18. Several boys were brought to Baba and sent back. Baba liked one Puerto Rican boy, but he looked rather weak. The time limit set by Baba for finding a boy was almost at close when Phyllis brought her cousin Keith McGaffey to Baba. Baba liked Keith, and during general conversation, Baba gestured, Keith, will you obey me if I ask you to do something bad? It was a tricky and unusual question. The boy spontaneously replied, yes. Baba, Baba looked pleased. Perhaps it was a sign that in Baba's presence, Keith's heart had overruled his mind. He stayed with Baba during his entire stay in Hartsdale. However, it was not easy for a boy of his age to understand all the subjects that were referred to when others met Baba. One, one day, out of curiosity, Keith asked Baba, what's all this stuff about God realization? Baba, with ease and humor, answered, until you have a headache yourself, you cannot understand what it is like. This was a simple but profound reply. He did his job well, and his service in return was probably registered his headache and his cure with the divine doctor.
I'll pause you for a minute and show you where all these places are. So this is 14 Kohani Road, but unfortunately, it's probably reorganized as Scarsdale. Scarsdale and Hartsdale are next towns. They're just next to each other. So if you see Hartsdale is here, Scarsdale is here. Now it's in the area called Scarsdale, and this is White Plains. So all are very nearby. So White Plains is where the male mandali were. And if you see, all of this is north of New York. And New York is around here. And this is within 50 miles, like she said. So, by the way, my first few years of long stints in the US were all in this region. I was in Mamaroneck, and I was working for a healthcare project, and I used to spend a lot of time in this whole region. So I didn't know obviously about Baba at that time, but I thought I should share that. Yeah.
Great coincidence. First day of darshan, July 18th to July 20th were the three darshan days at New York. Those interested in Baba were duly informed of his schedule. They were to meet Baba at Mrs. Deuce's spacious apartment on West 67th Street. On the morning of the 18th, Charmian drove Baba from Hartsdale to New York City. Adi, Gustaji, and Keith accompanied Baba. The large living room of the apartment was well arranged and decorated. This served as a waiting hall for the visitors. Flowers were placed in all the rooms. Baba was to give darshan in the adjacent room where Mrs. Deuce had her library. Baba's couch was covered with a peach-colored spread. In the hall, the following two quotations, Baba's special message and Malcolm Sloss's poem were displayed on the wall. Baba's message expressed the universal aspect of the God-man's authority and guidance. Malcolm's poem had two parts. The first contains a natural, obvious question that might arise over the master's seeming helplessness. In the second half, the poet himself gives an apt reply. The first poster: I am equally approachable to one and all, big and small, to saints who rise and sinners who fall, through all the various paths that give the divine call. I am approachable alike to saint whom I adore and to sinner whom I am for, and equally through Sufism, Vedantism, Christianity, or Zoroastrianism and Buddhism and other isms of any kind, and also directly through no medium of isms at all. Meher Baba. I would like to take a pause here. So Baba has said that it's, I think, in either it's in God Speaks or this, that isms are just paths, and he's just wanted to highlight that they are just, uh, like maybe ladders.
It is part of highest of the high message.
Yes, yes,
Highest of the high message.
yes, correct, correct. So what I'm trying to just highlight is that it's just a ladder or a scaffolding to reach your goal.
Yep.
The second poster, redemption, wielder of infinite power, enjoyer of infinite bliss, master of infinite wisdom, why dost thou come like this? Beautiful.
It says redemption, wielder of infinite power, enjoyer of him. Why dost thou come like this? Okay. Oh, it's not done yet. Okay, continue.
Seemingly worn and haggard, seemingly racked with pain, seemingly uttered puzzled, seemingly all in vain. The woes of the world are heavy, the faults of the world are great. I assumed its burden, I will redeem its state. Then shall my infinite glory, which thou hast known in part, reign for unnumbered aeons, enthroned in every heart. Now it becomes more meaningful or complete.
Yeah, exactly. The first
What is
first
what is
para was
aeons? Aeons
incomplete.
means what?
Ages.
Aeons
What does
means
it mean by
long
aeon?
ages. Yeah, long ages.
So the
Indefinite
first
and very
two,
long period of time.
uh,
Age, epoch, generation.
Okay, thanks.
the first
Yeah.
two stanzas are the question by the
Yeah.
poet,
Yeah.
I think. It's the
Yes.
answer in the next two stanzas.
Okay.
On,
Where were we? Yeah.
on his arrival at Mrs. Deuce's apartment, Baba conveyed that he hadn't slept well for the past few nights. He really seemed very tired. Nonetheless, he he had the look of a king. When he started seeing people, he appeared as radiant as ever with a ready smile. The first family to see Baba were the Rosses from New Jersey. Baba had taken his seat in the library, and near his couch was a bowl of fruit. He would lovingly offer a grape, a cherry, or whatever he felt pleased to give to the Dashanites, an external sign of an inner contact. To one woman, he gave a yellow rose. She later sat for a long time in the living room, tenderly holding it in her hand. The heat spill was still on, and as Baba's room was not air conditioned, fans were kept over buckets of ice to cool the air. Earlier, the visitors were informed that they should not ask any questions of Baba. However, Baba on his own lovingly started inquiring about their health and families. This informal chit chat did more to bring people closer to experiencing the God man's presence than asking him questions on spiritual subjects would have. During the interviews, a simple sentence from Baba, sometimes just a broad smile, a handshake, or a non-verbal gesture would convey to each visitor his love and personal concern. As people came in, the beauty of his presence flowed over them and filled their hearts with the warmth of an incredibly delightful feeling. After lunch, Papa did not rest, but allowed his dear ones to be around him. The darshan continued until 6 in the evening, and then Baba returned to Hartsdale. Second day of darshan. The next day, July 19th, Baba asked Margaret, along with Adi and Gustaji, to accompany him in the same car. Sarosh, Meherji, John Bass, and Darwin Shaw were already present at Mrs. Deuce's apartment before Baba's arrival. Adi later remarked that it was a distinctly memorable day, for he noticed that most of the visitors, as they left Baba's room, were on the verge bursting into tears from the tender touch of Baba's love. Baba was also in a good mood and looked very radiant and happy, as if pains and suffering of the accident had been entirely wiped out. In the afternoon, Don Stevens came to see Baba. This was his first meeting with the master. Already there were some people around Baba. While conversing with them, Baba was using his board as well as gestures. He was telling them a story of Janak, a perfect master. So, Karthik, this was the first meeting which you referred to, right? Of Don Stevens.
They may not be this. The earlier visit he would have met him, 1930s.
But then why is it mentioned here? This was his first meeting with the master.
Oh, okay. It says for. Oh, then this is exactly the meeting that Sanjay ji and was reading about, and I was mentioning. Yes.
Yes. A sincere, ardent aspirant approached Janak for spiritual discipline and guidance. Instead of warmly welcoming the person or giving him words of advice, Janak treated him so harshly that his forbearance and sincerity were severely tested. Perhaps through this story, Baba wished to disclose one of the methods that the masters use, if necessary, to shatter static concepts about spirituality. Don was greatly fascinated with Baba's gestures and with everything about him. Sorry, somebody said something.
The episode that I was referring to is coming. I mean, is being described here. So I'm glad.
Oh, yeah, good, good. Don was greatly fascinated with Baba's gestures and with everything about him. He felt extremely drawn to Baba, an inner recognition of his divinity. While intently listening to the story of Janak, Don, who was not directly facing Baba, raised his hand and made a circle gesture by putting his index finger to his thumb. Just then, Baba turned his gaze on Don and made the identical gesture and then continued with other conversation. This surprised Don. In fact, anything that Baba does has a spiritual significance and unfoldment of his avataric work. So I was wondering, Karthik, at this point, shall we rotate the reading?
No, yeah, yeah. We can. Anybody else wants to read? Otherwise, I can read for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, you continue. My signal is not so stable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But I
Ashish.
can read.
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
Jay
Please
Baba,
go
thank
ahead.
you.
Thank you so
Jai
much.
Baba.
There is a second example of Baba's gestures and the game with Don. So read about it from this para at the end.
Yeah. At the end of the day's program,
When Baba was about to leave, all gathered around him. Don, who was standing among the crowd, repeated the same gesture, this time deliberately. Just at that moment, Baba looked him in the face and with elegance and ease repeated the gesture. This impressed Don very much, and he could not brush aside this response as a mere coincidence. Some time later, as Baba reached the elevator, Don quickly made the same sign again, the third time, and Baba, although engaged with last minute instructions and goodbyes, gracefully swayed a little towards Don and made the same gesture of perfection, his favorite gesture of putting his thumb to his index finger. I do not know whether others were aware of Baba's masterly meme, but to Don his profound affirmation that Baba was aware of everything he thought and did provided the impetus to accept him as his master. This
Just
archetypal,
a minute. Just a minute, Ashish. Actually, Meher ji, who was with Baba that time, and he was a very tall and wide. It's like he was like a Hulk, as what Don says. And he was carrying Baba, and Don was slightly behind, so he was not in line of
It's
his
covered
sight.
by him.
And then,
Yes.
yeah, he was covered by him, and then when he does that signal, and Baba turns around and does the same. So that's
So
the
it's not very
story.
clear in the narration.
Yeah,
Thanks for pointing
yeah,
that out.
yeah. But
All
in
three, all
his
three
book,
times,
he
yeah, he spends almost 2, 3 pages on this 3 episodes. So what happens is all
right, right.
three cases, Baba's eye is not on Don. Don is doing it behind Baba. And each time, Baba turns or looks at Don and repeats the gesture. And so it's almost like a game, right? The lover always is in doubt. The lover always oh, maybe it was a coincidence, is what your mind plays with you, right? And Baba plays along. He plays along by look at his compassion. He plays along by doing it three times uh, in that meeting. It's a very beautiful. The more you think about it, it makes you so happy. Yes,
yeah,
Ashish.
yes,
You can read from this
this,
archetypal. Yeah.
yeah, this archetypal incident is an example of the way in which during big or small gatherings, even Baba's simple gestures, the context of which remained unnoticed by others, have awakened the hearts of people to the deeper dimensions of life. The last day of Sahwas. On July 20, in the morning, Baba held a special meeting with Avidius, Dawn, and Charmian about the Sufi constitution (charter). Dawn read out 10 questions to Baba to bring especially to his notice some salient points pertaining to the Sufi order. After listening attentively to them all, Baba responded to a few, and in the process, he sketched out general guidelines for reorienting Sufism. During this discussion, Adi read Baba's board. In reply to one of the questions, Baba dictated intellectual knowledge backed fully by feelings in intellectual conviction. In bracket, ilm al yagin. It is a
Ilm,
simple and direct
ilm al yakin. It's actually
yagin.
yakin.
Hey,
Ilm
yakin,
al
yeah.
yakin. Yeah.
It is a simple and direct definition. Baba
So
insisted.
if you remember the ilm al yakin, there are four ilm hakal yakin, ain al yakin, ilm al yakin. Basically, levels of conviction. We read about it in Listen Humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, continue.
Baba entrusted Avidius and Don Stevens with the work of publishing Godspeeds in the States. He told them that after reaching India, he will send them manuscript of Godspeaks and arrange for payment of $1,000 towards its publications. At the close of this meeting, Baba agreed to give his sahwas in the afternoon to the Sufis and other Baba groups in New York at West 67th Street. After lunch, chairman drove Baba from Hartsdale to New York City. Baba reached Miss Deuce's apartment at 2 p.m. Sarosh and Merji helped Baba from the car and into the elevator. The Sufis had already assembled in the living room. They greeted Baba warmly as he was wheeled in. Baba also looked very pleased. During the brief service, Baba pointed at his message displayed on the wall and dictated from his board. This poster must have made it very clear to all that I can be directly or indirectly approached. This means through different isms, sects, and different formations, or personally by direct contact. What is this isms?
Isms, all Jainism,
Isms.
Hinduism, all the isms, the
Oh, okay,
different
okay.
religions. That's what. Earlier,
Hmm.
it was there in the poster. We read about it. Yeah.
So,
In the
Jai
next
Baba,
paragraph, yeah.
this, uh, this just highlights once again that, sorry, there are different ways in which Baba brings persons to the fold. I mean, there are different ways in which Baba attracts, or his magnetism can either through be be it the isms or different religious paths, or by direct contact. So there are different ways in which he brings me to his fold. Jai Baba.
Okay. If you take Baba to be perfect and one with God, Baba is then the ocean, and these different paths Sufism, Vedantism,
Vedantism.
Zoroastrianism, yeah, Buddhism, Jainism, and Christianity are as rivers to the ocean. But now the time has arrived and period has arrived when these rivers have more or less become dry. So the ocean itself has to go out and flood these rivers. Now, when I send the charter and the constitution and the instructions, it will be applicable to the whole Sufi world and will, by God's grace, be lasting in its effect and influence. I give you all my love, including all of those who could not be present here. Then the members of the Monday night group, those who attained Fredela's meeting, and Baba lovers staying in New York, the Winterfelds, the Shaws, John Bass, Mildred Kale, Beryl Williams, and others swarmed into the Sahwas saloon. Some sat on chairs, others on low stools, while quite a few remained standing by the walls with their attention focused on Baba's every move and gesture. Baba lovingly inquired of each, and no one felt that he or she was left out from his all embracing love. In his informal Baba conveyed, bliss is the goal of life, that bliss is continuous, changeless, eternal, and divine. That bliss has in it power, love, knowledge, and infinite wisdom, and God is all is in one. Today, I feel happy, but this happiness is personal. To see you, who love me so much, makes me feel very happy and touched at heart. Norina and Elizabeth have worked for me for all these years, and they love me with all their hearts. It was they who made it possible for me to come over here this time. Today, their physical presence is not here, but they are in my heart, very precious, very sacred. All I want to say is that the aim of life since the beginning to the endless end is to love God and be one with Him. I give you all my love, that love which by the grace of God will make you love, will make you love Him as He ought to be loved.
Hmm?
Soon it was evening and time to go, but no one was willing to leave Baba's company. Charged with his love, some were intently looking at him with speechless joy, not knowing when they would have the next opportunity to his service. Many had come to meet Baba. There were also some people who wanted to come but could not. When this subject was brought up, Baba's eye gleamed and he remarked, "All those come whom I wish to come." There were also a few who were not much interested in meeting the master, but circumstances led them to the blessed fortune of meeting Baba. With reference to such people, Baba conveyed, they may not know me, but I know them. What a hidden game. The same drama is being enacted even to this day when one hears the stories of those who visits Meherazad from distant lands across the seas. One is often reminded of Baba's above mentioned quotes, revealing the all knowingness of the avatar. Without the sanction of the eternal beloved, the plains of Baba lovers who want to visit
Plans.
Meher, uh, without
The
the
plans, the
sanction,
plans, the plans of Baba lovers who want to visit the Meher country.
yeah, without the sanctions of eternal beloved, the plans of Baba lovers who want to visit the Meher country are foiled for minor, insignificant reasons, while his inner approval overcomes seemingly insurmountable difficulties with an incredible ease, and one's visit subsequently takes place without a hitch, even down to the smallest detail. This is not a hypothetical statement, but has been confirmed by witnessing with complete objectivity the stories recounted by Baba lovers who have come on pilgrimage to pay homage to their eternal beloved at Mehrabad, Dharwazar.
Wonderful. I think we'll stop there. Thank you very much. Any
Thank you.
thoughts before I stop recording? I will stop recording and we can hang around for a bit. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Avatar Meher